Ready. Set.
Gamecast.
Welcome to Ready, Set, Gamecast, a bi-weekly podcast about video games and the destruction of the process of daylight savings time. I'm Bryce, and I'm joined by the keeper of the time keys, Matt.
Hey, Bryce. How'd you feel about losing an hour of sleep?
Okay, here's the thing about it. So, do you know how daylight savings time works?
Generally, sure. Not like how it affects the calendar or whatever, but just, yes.
Okay, here's the question. Did it just start or did it just end?
Oh, okay. Yeah, did we turn the lights on or off?
Yeah. Are we saving time now or are we done saving time?
I'd say we are not saving time because the days are getting longer.
Okay, you are actually incorrect. We have just entered daylight savings time.
Huh.
Yeah, it makes no goddamn sense. This is the time that we have plenty of daylight and we don't need to save it, but this is when we've entered it. But here's the thing about it. I believe that we should stop the process of daylight savings time because I was originally going to say the destruction of daylight savings time. I want us to stay in it. I want us to live in this time all the time because I think we should always be this hour ahead. We should never.
The one we just left.
No, the one we just entered.
Oh, we are now. Oh, I thought you just said we are saving.
Yes.
No, we're not saving. Right. Logically, in my mind, it made sense. Okay.
We have just entered daylight savings time. So we're saving time, which made the days longer now.
Yes.
And I think the days should always be longer, especially in the winter when I think we most need the days to be longer.
Yes. Okay. I generally agree with that. Yeah. I hate when it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and it's like, it's pitch black. It could be midnight. I don't know.
If anything, we do the reverse, where the days are longer in winter and the days are shorter in summer. Like, I have no idea how they decided on this series of events. I know it was started in Germany during World War I or II, one of them.
Just one of those.
Yep, they're all kind of the same thing, and to save coal or electricity, to save energy, and that's how it started. And why we still do it, I have no idea.
Huh? Because
they don't know how to stop. They don't know. They turn the clocks. They said you're doing this, and they don't know where the clock master is and how to make him stop it.
In your time zone, are you further east or west?
I'm west of you.
Well, I know you're west of me. I know that we are in different time zones, but I'm in Massachusetts, and Massachusetts is fairly far east as far as the U.S. goes.
The time zone switches about. Like, I can drive about 3-4 hours west of here, and then the time switches.
Okay.
So I don't know how far east I would have to go. Probably quite a bit because I've been five hours east and still been in Central Time. I don't know where it switches from there.
I think it switches along the Ohio border, right, from east to central. But I'm not.
No idea.
I'm not sure.
No idea.
But.
Never did that one. I've done it on a plane, but at that point, who cares?
Right, but it's weird because I feel like the time, especially with like we're saying, when daylight savings is off and it's winter, it actually gets darker. I mean, generally because I'm further east in the time zone, it's always going to be darker earlier anyway. So it's like ridiculous when it's winter.
Yeah, it would be nice to be just along the east side of the border of the time zone because you'd be kind of in this like
the west side.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the west side just before it changes. And also like imagine like they're living right next to that border would be so weird. Like, imagine living on the west side of the border and
I thought about that too.
Working on the east.
Yeah, you're just all over the place. I imagine, I don't know, to some degree it's like if there's a major metropolitan area, they must just choose one, and like even the surrounding towns, even if they would be, it's just like a weird cutout in the time zone because of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that works. I'm not close enough to that.
But I say we stay in daylight savings time all year round so that we can play more video games like Matt has been doing.
Yeah. So
actually no, I forgot. I forgot which order we're doing this because you actually have a whole thing to do. Usually I'm the one who ends because I'm the host, but you've got
cleanup.
Yeah, you've got stuff to say. I've just been playing Stardew because I know I'm about to lose my girlfriend to the Animal Crossing. So
end of sentence. Just I know I'm about to lose my girlfriend.
So we gotta finish our Stardew town while we're still dating. So after you complete the community center, there's actually another bundle that you get to do, which is much harder stuff. And honestly, like by the time you can complete the community center, you probably like already have a lot of the stuff. You're on a clear path. You can get the stuff, but it's a lot more challenging. Like one of the things is like the rainbow stone thing that is like super rare.
Is that all stuff that came like in subsequent patches after the game launched, or is it all?
I don't know. I don't know when that was added. Obviously, the 1.4 is the current version in terms of content. Obviously, there've been like fixes and stuff, but content wise, 1.4, which I'm not sure what all they added with that. I do know that fangamer.com has a Stardew Valley guidebook thing that I got for Darian, and I actually just decided to get for myself, along with this cool comic book they made called Before the Farmer, which tells the story of what happened to the Stardew Valley the year leading up to you coming. Which actually it comes with the letter your grandpa sends you. Which should be here tomorrow, either tomorrow or Tuesday. I'll be excited to get that. But so they actually update it with the 1.4 content, and they sent a PDF to me because I gifted it to Darian. I'm like, oh, here's all the content from 1.4 for the book, and I was kind of looking through that to see of like, oh, what's in here. And it's a lot of the multiplayer stuff there. I think they did like tweak like what people like. But I don't know. I haven't played since it was pre-release, I think, was when I last played. And now we've been playing on the Switch. So I'm not sure when things got added. But yeah, there's this additional bundle. We actually just finished that, and that added a really cool thing. I'm not going to spoil that. So right now, the things that we have left to do, I actually just got engaged to Abigail.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're going to get married on the 1st of winter, which
it's 3 days away, right?
Yeah, 3 days. Yeah, which kind of sucks. I feel like she would want to get married in the fall, but I actually I got the thing and was going to go propose to her. But by the time I tracked her down, she was asleep in bed. I'm like, hey, wake up. And she's like, no, go away. And I'm like, fine, I'll find you tomorrow. And then, yeah, so it's going to work out that we're getting married on the 1st of winter. So I'm checking that off. I'm probably not going to have kids because I don't like the way that kind of whole thing gets handled, where like they never grow beyond toddlers.
Oh.
And
so they can't even be like farmhands?
No, they're
that
just
stinks.
They're basically dogs that look slightly humanish.
But your spouse will do stuff, right? Like,
yeah,
depending on what you like.
Yeah, spouse can give you gifts and can help around the house and stuff. They'll I think harvest crops and stuff, which will also be interesting. That like my girlfriend is also going to get married. I guess she's going to marry Sam. So it'll be interesting that we'll have both Abigail and Sam living on the farm with us. I'll be curious if like, can we still sleep together? because like she can crawl into my bed and sleep, and then I can also crawl in, and vice versa. So I wonder if that'll still work. So we completed the last bundle. I'm about to get married. She'll get married soon, I imagine. They actually have a lot of like kind of end game type stuff where there's some very expensive items that you can get that'll take you a long time to grind for. But the more achievable things, I'm very close to reaching floor 100 of the desert, because you don't get elevators or anything for that. So
right.
I basically have been grinding to get stone so that I can build 100 steps so that I can just go
just
down.
Drop, yeah.
Yeah, just go straight down, which I'll have my girlfriend come with me so that whatever reward is at the bottom, we can get it at once. Because I don't know how long it's taken me to get all these stone, but I'm not doing it again, whatever's down there. And then there's actually what I think is cool is that I've upgraded my house all the way, but the house upgrading lady, Robin, will now do community upgrades, and the first one of those that I see is that we can build Pam a house.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And that's cool, and that's kind of an end game thing for you because it costs like 500,000 gold, and then you need like 99 wood. I've got wood coming out the butt, but getting that kind of gold is going to take a while. We're close to getting there, so that'll be a cool thing to get that. So there's actually
that's neat that there's
Stardew has a decent end game. Like finishing the community center is not the end of your time.
I bet that stuff was added at some larger scale, because I think that it was kind of there was like something with your grandfather, right? That was the end game.
Well, yeah,
and then
at the beginning of your third year, your grandpa ghost shows up, and if you made him proud, you get a thing.
Yeah, so that was kind of like the original end game, I think.
Yeah,
and then so now it sounds like there's all sorts of stuff to do because there's the multiplayer stuff and there's community building and.
Yeah, I mean the multiplayer, like we've been multiplaying the entire time, and there's still issues with it. Like if you look into multiplayer, I've seen we've ran into a lot of connection issues, and if you just like look into it, there's a lot of people both on Steam and Switch and lots of places are saying they're having connection issues, and it might be like definitely the guy didn't make it for multiplayer in mind.
Right, and I think another studio is like the guy that actually made it, right, he didn't necessarily do the multiplayer dev stuff. I think he scaled at some point and started hiring other studios to help him.
Interesting.
Or other teams to help him with it.
Well, that seems like something that they maybe need to figure out because it's got issues. But there's definitely a lot of kind of reasons to keep playing after you've reached year 3, after you've completed the community center, and there's some stuff that the cost of it is so insanely expensive, and it kind of doesn't like, how you can get totems that'll like transport you to the mountains or the beach or whatever,
right? Yeah
So there's the wizard. Once you max out friendship with him, he'll sell you pillars that will transport you to those places, but they're like permanent. You can just place them in your farm and then just touch them, I guess.
Cool.
But they're like insanely expensive that you'd have to sit there and grind forever. So at least I think that's just like, we're going to give you some really expensive stuff.
Yeah, there's stuff to do.
Yeah. To at least give you some sort of goal. But it's also like, I don't know if I need to go to the mountains that bad.
Right.
I got a horse. I'll just ride up there. It's fine. The one that I'd possibly ever consider is the desert, because you have to wait for Pam to come at 10, and then it still costs a tiny bit of money. But by this point, I have so much that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But also, I'll just make totems when I need to get up there. But yeah, it's got a cool end game, and we're like I'm gonna keep trying to play before I got 2 weeks.
You got your time, yeah.
Yeah, I got 2 weeks before I lose my multiplayer partner.
Well, you're just gonna start a new adventure, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll play it. I mean, we're not gonna. From what I understand, we can't like share a island on Animal Crossing unless we play on the same
same console. You can.
Yeah, but
in fact, I think that's the only way to play on the same like. You can't have 2 separate islands if you're on the same Switch for Animal Crossing.
Yeah, so we're probably gonna do our own islands and stuff. But Stardew Valley. It's a cool thing. It's fun, and I'm excited to see what being married to Abigail's like. Matt, what have you been up to?
I've been playing a couple of different games. So, last show I mentioned I had played a bit of Overland, which is a survival, I guess roguelite. I mean, it's survival-y, so, it's run-based. If you die, you have to start over. And it's kind of strategy-like in that it's all on a grid, it's turn-based, and you have a party of characters that you're managing, so you can recruit more party members as you go. And they have a bunch of, like, kind of friendly features in it. Like, I think we talked about an undo action button, and some general inventory management stuff where you don't have to be like right next to somebody to share inventory. So there's good accessible features there. Because I am not very good at the game, is what I've learned. Usually it involves my car blowing up and then everyone dying in a fire.
I mean, that's usually how every road trip goes. So
yeah. So I think I'm actually on the current run I'm on. I haven't played in a couple of days because I had my car blow up, but my party's still alive technically, and I'm the furthest I've been. So you can't proceed to the next screen if you don't have a car, right? You can run.
Oh, you can.
The distance you travel is kind of based on how much fuel you have. So if you have a car for your party, say like a regular like wagon or hatchback, you can fit up to 4 people in it, I think. And so you can drive that off the stage, right? Each stage is like a little grid, and then you can go to the next one, and there's like a travel screen in between where you can select your next destination. And depending on how much fuel you have at the time, then you can see how far you can travel. So in theory, if you have a ton of fuel, you can skip multiple stops that you would otherwise have to make and use all your fuel to get somewhere. But I'm usually pretty conservative with it and say either I take the option with the least amount of fuel or something like that. But when you're on foot, you don't have the option of how far would I like to travel. You are just kind of, here's how far you can travel. You're on foot. You only get to go 10 miles at a time instead of 100 miles or 300 miles or something like that. So, yeah, I had a good run going. I had a regular sedan or regular hatchback, and I had 4 people in my party. And then I came across a stop that had a bigger van, like a big old conversion van style thing. And so I took like my roof rack off of my other car. I found like some like floodlights that go on top that light it up when it's dark, and the van could fit, I think, 6 people maybe or something. So I was like, oh, I have room to expand my party. Found a 5th guy. Things were going great. And then I was like at the furthest point I had been, I think at the end of chapter 2. I think there are 5 chapters in total. And so that's just like different biomes and different difficulties, I believe. And I had to break through some barricades, and I stupidly rammed one instead of moving it with a person. So then my car caught on fire, and then it blew up, and then it killed one of my people, but I managed to run out with the other 4. And then at the very next stage, it was like super overwhelming alien mode where they're all attacking me, and only 2 of my people made it. So I'm the furthest I've ever been, but I'm on foot, and I have an injured person and a healthy person, and it's not going well. So I haven't played in like a week because of that, because I don't want it to end.
Wow.
But we'll see. If I can get a med kit, I can get my other person healthy. Then both of my people have like lead pipes, which are seemingly not breakable weapons, which is good because a lot of things have durability, but the pipes seem to be strong enough that they can just go. Yeah, so that's Overland.
Nice.
And to answer, you had a question the last show about kind of the undo features and stuff like that. There are some instances, like when I rammed my car into a barrier and then everybody blew up. I was not able to undo that because I tried. I was like, I don't like that decision. Let me try again. But that was like you are committing to this decision. And they do make that somewhat apparent in the UI. I think it flashes a different color before you do that.
Interesting.
So, yeah. In other gaming games that I've been playing, gaming games, it was The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's 3rd birthday, I guess you could say, this past week.
And you got it cake.
Yeah, exactly, that tasty cake. I booted it up because I had been kind of, I don't know, in a weird spot where I'm like, I don't know what I want to play. Actually, I think I want to play Breath of the Wild. Well, I'm not sure. Whatever, I'm going to boot it up. It's been long enough. I don't think I remember everything about it. But, like, in my mind, I kind of remember a lot, I think. But then there's all these little details that are like, wow, I'm kind of discovering this again. So it's been a good time. But I booted it up on Master Mode, which I hadn't tried before. And Master Mode is not messing around. Right now, I have 4 hearts, which in, Zelda terms is I have 1 extra. You start with 3 hearts. So now I've got 1 extra heart, and pretty much everything will one-shot kill me. So I've died like 30 times already. The first fight I got in with a bokoblin on the plateau, which is like a relatively safe space, I just got my butt whooped and the bokoblin killed me, and that's continued for like the next 3.5 hours that I've played.
Have you put some amiibos in to try and get good? I
actually did not. I forgot that I could do amiibo stuff, which is funny because in the inventory screen, I'm pretty sure there is a spot like on the save screen that says amiibo. But no, I haven't been doing amiibo. But
you
I don't know if that's cheating in master mode. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely meant to be a challenge, but amiibos exist.
Yeah.
I think I actually have it. But I didn't actually. Breath of the Wild is actually the game that got me into amiibos because, amiibos were originally for Smash Brothers, but they the things they did with Smash Brothers were kind of very meh. Like the virtual saving your fighter thing was like, I don't get it. It seems weird. But the stuff where you're getting special, getting random food, it's like, okay, well, I can just get food from stuff. But the certain ones that would you could only get the Eponia from the Smash Brothers Link.
Good point. I'll probably have to do that. You're right.
And then there's Wolf Link that you get from that. And then, but there's Majora's Mask. I think I have that one now because I've become a little bit of a collector. But when I was playing Breath of the Wild, I didn't, and apparently with the Majora's Mask one, it'll make enemies friendly towards you while you're wearing the mask.
Oh,
so I've wanted to mess around with that, but I haven't touched Breath of the Wild since I've beat the game.
Yeah.
So I might actually have to. I mean, I imagine this stuff will be in 2, so I'll probably just mess around with it in 2. But
yeah, I would hope they keep that kind of integration.
Yeah, amiibos honestly, amiibos are cool. I like kind of the stuff they do with it. They're nice figures and just the little things that they can add in. I mean, like Animal Crossing, you can bring in your people.
It's weird how non-committal Nintendo's been with them lately. Like they're releasing Smash ones still, right?
Yeah.
I think in batches of 2 or 3. But like what they actually do in games, like I don't think Luigi's Mansion even had amiibo support.
I don't think so.
And like that seems like you would have had an opportunity there for some original new amiibo figures with Polterpup and Luigi with his vacuum and Dr. Egad, Professor Egad, whatever it is. But like, maybe a King Boo. But there's opportunities there and they just like didn't. But now with Animal Crossing, they're like, hey, it's gonna support everything, even amiibo cards. So it's a weird spot.
I mean, I wonder if it's a thing that's up to the developer. Because Luigi's Mansion was made by Next Level Games, so maybe they were like, we ain't about that amiibo lifestyle, and then obviously the Animal Crossing people have already been about that lifestyle. There's already amiibos that exist. They don't need to put out new amiibos. They already have a game that's dedicated. It's Amiibo Town or whatever.
That's true. What is that called? Amiibo Festival?
Yeah, and the thing that I'm interested in, because they've already shown that the cards work with the new game, I think they're getting reprints of the cards in Japan. Hopefully we're getting those reprints as well in America. It'd be dumb if they didn't. They're reprinting the Smash characters. They should, if a new game comes out that uses old amiibo functionality, they should re-release those amiibos. Hopefully we'll see the cards come out again, because I'd like them. I haven't played it, but I got to catch them all.
In other news or other things I've been playing, I went to PAX East in Boston last weekend.
The old Penny Arcade Expo.
That's right.
How many people? How many people do you think go to PAX who have no idea what Penny Arcade is?
Oh, I don't know. That's tough, because like I am probably just circumstantially aware of them. I don't. I guess the comic would be what I think of, which I don't know if that's really what Penny Arcade is beyond that at this point.
I would think, I think the comic is Penny Arcade. That's literally how they started.
Okay.
I think if you think Penny Arcade, that should be the comic.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, they do other comics, but I almost think that's like an extension of their brand. And the Penny Arcade comic is the brand, like the starting point. So I think that's what people should think. But like there's definitely an element, like at PAX West. We were waiting to scan our badge for this like figures giveaway, and I think it was Gabe. Gabe and Tycho look nothing like they do in the comic.
They're actually avatars.
Yeah, so I forget which one's which at times, but I literally saw him over there, and I was like, oh, it's Gabe, and she's like, what? I'm like, it's Gabe, the guy who runs this convention. And he's just like standing there, like eating. It's almost like nobody really like acknowledge, like it's just like, it's the video game deal. Like the Penny Arcade part's just kind of circumstantial,
right?
But I mean,
it is definitely. I think beyond that at this point, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think like they even own it. I don't think they own the organization that runs PAX.
I don't know,
because it's run through ReedPop, which I think ReedPop is a convention running business.
I mean,
basically
maybe it's like a partnership type thing.
Yeah,
like they kind of are working with them. They like at the end of the day, if ReedPop probably says, hey, we're gonna fart in everybody's face, they'll be like, we're gonna go maybe with somebody else this time.
I think ReedPop was in talks to like make an offer on E3 as well, like in the last year or so. That was like one of the. So I think they are like a big convention company if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean E3. We'll actually probably end up talking about that in a news story after this one. But tell me about what PAX was like. What did you play at PAX?
I played a grand total of 4 video games.
Ooh, high score.
4 whole video games. I, as a general rule, don't like waiting in lines at anything. Like, if a line's going to take too long, I might as well go do something else with my time, I guess is my feeling towards that. So I generally don't go to any of the big demos. Like, I didn't play Animal Crossing, but I was like, whatever, it's coming out in 2-3 weeks, I'll play it. I didn't play the Final Fantasy VII demo, which now you can play because it's out there. If you have a PlayStation, it's available to you. And I thought that was really weird because they made a big deal on the show floor of, like, people were yelling at the lines like, don't take any photos or videos of the screens of the demo. And then literally the day after PAX, it was like, hey, here's the public demo of the same exact thing that was available. Like, what a weird arbitrary rule.
I mean, I think that the demo is actually that's public available is actually more than was at PAX.
Yeah, so it's like, what a silly thing. I don't know. That's just Final Fantasy things, I think.
I mean, they don't want they want to be the one in control of the message. They don't want things to leak outside their terms.
But it's like, I don't know. It's available to the public at this show. So, like, what are you, like, who cares if someone sends a screenshot on Twitter or something? Like,
yeah, I mean, that I think the thing is that, like, having a control of the message can be huge because, like, you know, the internet exists. If they get just a little sliver of something, they're gonna sit there and dissect it for hours. Like trailers, there will be 3-hour videos about a 10-minute trailer dissecting every frame of, like, wait, here's the thing. So
that's true.
So yeah, I can definitely see why they'd be like, hey, something might slip through. Somebody might go, like, if there's some sort of glitch with the demo or something, maybe it's not. There's something there they don't want out, so being able to completely control their message makes sense. But it was a bit literally, like, it sucks for the people who waited in line for it because it's like,
I'm glad. Like, if I was, like, a hardcore fan that had gone and was, like, so excited to play the demo, I guess I would have still been like, awesome, I got to play it, and now I get to play it some more, and I got to play it early or something, I guess. But I think I'd be a little disappointed if I waited half a day just to do that, and that happened.
You could have sat on the bicycle instead.
Yeah, there were a lot of people, taking that photo on the whatever it is. I don't know, Cloud's motorcycle. I
know I wanted to sit on it at PAX West, but the line was stretched, like, all the way around their booth and stuff, and I was like, no, I don't want to sit on it that bad.
Huh. I feel like I didn't even notice the lack of Sony, if that makes sense. Like, I know they were going to demo Last of Us, and some other stuff like Doom. I don't think was on the show floor, but they were at the Bethesda thing, which is next door to PAX there, and it's free, so you could still play Doom. But yeah, I didn't really notice the lack of, like, Sony's floor print looked like it was, like, the largest thing that was going to be there. But the Animal Crossing booth was huge and also right there, right as you came down the stairs. So it was, like, always huge crowds around that. I just looked from afar. I didn't go into the booth because there was a long line to go in, and you could take a photo with, like, Isabelle or Tom Nook and walk around a little. I think they had, like, a tent and an apple tree and a little house front, and there was, like, a little river on the ground. And so it was a really elaborate booth. But again, I don't like waiting in long lines.
Wow.
It's just like it's not for me. And then games I actually did play. I got to play probably the game I'm most excited about this year, which is Fall Guys.
Oh yeah, I've actually, that's the what is it? Mario Party meets Battle Royale.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, everybody is. It's like the setup is it's a game show essentially, and you are all these little kind of blobby guys that are all in colored suits. Essentially, they're like little full on skin tight suits, I guess I would call them.
Oh, I assumed that they were different colored blobs, not.
Maybe they are different colored blobs, I guess, but you can wear like different outfits. You can change the patterns on your suits and things. So I think the guys inside are like the just gray guys with like the little eyeballs, and then they're wearing like a onesie around it.
Yeah, gotta get that Fall Guys lore down, or else you can't play it.
But it's a battle royale in the sense that the last person standing wins, or the first person to the crown wins. But it's round based, so you start with 60 guys all in the game, and the demo at the show had the like door challenge first. So you are running towards a wall of doors, and you have to jump through the door that you think you can get through, and then you might hit it and bounce off, and then you have to go through another one. So I think it's like if you're in the top 40 of 60 people, you make it through to the next round. The second round, I believe, was like a grab and keep a tail. I guess I don't know how to describe that other than some people had tails, some people didn't. And so if you didn't have a tail, you needed to steal it from somebody. If you had a tail, you had to survive for 2 minutes with the tail. At the end of the 2-minute timer, everyone that had a tail got to move on. Everyone who didn't was eliminated. Then there was like a Hungry Hungry Hippos style minigame in the third round. And so you were divided into 3 or 4 teams, different colors. 3 teams actually, and the losing team was eliminated. That one, my team almost got knocked out. So that one was tough, and it's weird because you're depending on everyone else too in that mode. And then the last one's just like a race to the top of the mountain, more or less. And there's a crown at the top, so the first person to get there and grab the crown wins. And I did it. I won the Fall Guys demo and got a foam crown, and it was awesome.
Nice. I was wondering if you got a cool thing for it.
Yeah,
so wait,
it's up there. I can't reach it right now.
So was there like 60 actual people playing, or?
So there were 8 demo stations. So I think they filled the other 52 spots with bots. Because like they had a spectator camera that would go around, but sometimes it would be on a bot, and you could tell that they were bots. Like they would do like dumb things, like run into the same wall over and over again, kind of thing. But they usually kept it on players. So that was neat. And then that Fall Guys is being published by Devolver, so they were right next to the Devolver digital booth. And so I happened to be by that booth, the Devolver booth, when one of the demo stations was completely free. So I just like walked up and was like, "Oh, can I play?" And somebody was like, "Yeah, sure." And I played this game called Disc Room, which I don't know if you've heard of Disc Room, because I think it was announced maybe just before PAX.
No idea.
But the basic plot, I guess, I don't know, basic
Premise?
idea of the game, premise of the game, thank you, is that you are just trying to avoid dying to giant spinning discs. It's top down. So I guess if you think of like Super Meat Boy in the sense that there's these this visual style for the discs, and they kind of chop you up into a bloody mess. But then you're in a top-down perspective instead of a platforming setup, and you're just kind of with the joystick running around a room, and surviving as long as you can. And I didn't know if I was doing well or not, but I was progressing, so I was surviving long enough that eventually I'd get chopped up, but a new door would open. And so you just kind of keep going through. So the first room is just simple, basic discs, and they kind of move in a pattern, and eventually there's too many populating and you'll die. Some rooms had like, this one only has giant discs that are 4 times the size, or this one has ones that charge up and then shoot straight at you. So like, different mechanics to each room. And I just kind of kept progressing through the demo, just, room by room. And then I found a room with like a golden circle ball thing. And then there was like a little cutscene that played. So I think I won, but I don't know. It was weird. It was fun. It was simple, but it was like hard to tell if I was doing well because you're just surviving until you die. Like you're going to fail eventually is like the setup, I guess. But if it's, I don't know, it's if it's like $5, I think it's totally worth it when it launches, if that makes sense.
That's the upper limit for what you should pay?
I'd say like $10 based on what I played. But it just got announced right before that, so I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we don't see. They've got a lot to go.
Yeah, I think it's got I think some of the development team from Minute and some other games that I'm blanking on right now, but so think like that scale of game, I guess.
Right.
What else did I play? Oh, lastly, the last 2 games I played are from one of my favorite series, the Shovel Knight series. I got to play Shovel Knight Dig and Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon.
Is Dig like SteamWorld Dig?
Dig is a bit like SteamWorld Dig with the digging mechanic. You're going through blocks in a side view platforming method, but the actual setup to the game is more like Downwell. I don't know if you played Downwell.
I've seen it.
So that one is you're vertically platforming down, and that's kind of the basic premise of Shovel Knight Dig is you're digging deeper.
Yeah.
But then there is that sort of SteamWorld Dig-ness to it. And then they have a permanent upgrade system. So as your run completes, or as you complete each section or stage, if you unlock enough golden gears, you get a permanent upgrade. So in your future runs, you'll be more equipped. So I think it's a mix kind of a little bit of like that Dead Cells influence, a little bit of a SteamWorld Dig influence, and a little bit of a Downwell influence, and it was pretty good. I was really bad at it, but it was pretty good. And then Pocket Dungeon, I actually had a ton of fun with. I don't know what to describe it as.
Is it like Polly Pocket?
I don't know what Polly Pocket Dungeon's like.
I don't think she was in a dungeon. I think it was like a little doll house type thing in your
just
pocket.
Flip it open.
Yeah.
So my first thought with Pocket Dungeon was that it would be like a mobile game, which it totally could be, I think. But it was demoed on a Switch, so that was cool because I like when Shovel Knight things are on Switch. Then I'll play it. But it's a block dropping puzzle game, I guess, is probably the right way to describe it. So enemies and potions and chests and everything kind of drop from the top of the screen down on a timer like that. Like there's a rhythm to it. So if you choose not to move for a beat, things will drop. If you choose to move somewhere and you try to run into an enemy, you will attack and the enemy will attack back. And you can kind of chain combos with that. So if 5 enemies are all touching each other and you attack and kill one of them, you can kill all of them. And so you can basically navigate the space, collect gems, pick up potions to heal, and clear enemies to collect keys to unlock doors and chests. I made it all the way through that demo, so I played 2 or 3 stages and then fought Plague Knight in mine. And Plague Knight had like special mechanics where he'd move around the board, and then he would throw his bombs and things and make areas where you couldn't hop on for that moment. So that was kind of cool. I actually really liked Pocket Dungeon. So those were the 4 games I actually got to play. Other than that, I went to some panels, had a good time, did PAX things, bought like $15 hot dogs or whatever. It was like a barbecue mac and cheese thing that was $15. It was like, man, this is overpriced.
They got a captive audience.
Yeah, exactly. We've got you now. But yeah, it was cool. I haven't heard anything about coronavirus outbreaking there, so that's good.
Yeah.
It felt relatively sanitary. A lot of people had, hand sanitizer and stuff at their booths, which was appreciated. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the way the coronavirus is that like it takes a while to know that and also they're not very generous about testing people. Well, it might be a while before we find out if people were getting sick there, but
yeah.
This brings us to the news. This is our sick transition in news. Eventually, well,
sick.
I have a jingle. It's provided by a person that you'll hear next time because I had to restart my computer to do it, and I didn't restart my computer. We're going to go over some news that was affected by the coronavirus. These are basically what I did is I went to polygon.com and I did a search for coronavirus, and we're going to look at some stuff related to that. So game companies were pulling out of GDC, the Game Developers Conference. PlayStation, Oculus, and Facebook Gaming pulled out. And then Konami pulled out. And then eventually they just canceled GDC. And let's see.
I think they used postponed indefinitely,
Yeah,
right?
I guess, yeah.
So there's like maybe a chance they run it later this year, but
Sure, but also like trying to schedule something that big is also a whole thing. So, Plague Inc. was pulled from Chinese app stores related to this. Okay. Not specifically gaming related, but the No Time to Die James Bond movie was postponed in November due to coronavirus.
Is that because of the name or because of other things?
Because people don't want to go to movies right now.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't want to be around other people. The Konami delays the TurboGrafx 16 Mini due to the coronavirus. Emerald City Comic Con has been postponed to summer, and we're seeing more esports events canceled because of the coronavirus concerns. Like this, it's literally an epidemic. I mean, I think LA is under a state of emergency right now.
I think New York also just had one announced. Was it New York?
I haven't heard that, but so there's two things I want to talk about related to coronavirus. A, do you think E3 is happening?
I think E3 happens. I do.
See, okay, because I've basically, there's two, I guess technically three ways this can go. Either the coronavirus calms down and everything's fine by the time,
right, which is likely.
Yeah, in
general,
it's possible. Two, E3 keeps doing their thing, and game developers pull out, like they did with PAX West over
also,
health concerns.
I think that's likely. Maybe not to the same degree.
Or E3 themselves cancel.
I think that's the least likely.
Well, and I think basically if 2 or 3 happen, E3 can be done.
Yeah.
Because if game developers pull out, they're going to have to figure out their own announcement deals. They're probably going to do a Nintendo Direct type situation or something. And they're going to go, actually, this is easier. This is cheaper. Or if E3 themselves cancel, game developers are going to have to do the same thing. They're going to go, this is fine. We didn't lose that much. And they stop going to E3. So unless everything just works out and E3 just runs smoothly, the coronavirus could kill E3.
I mean, that would just be the final blow. But
yeah.
So if you're the ESA, are you thinking right now like, hey, we have a real chance this year because of all these other cancellations to be like super relevant, like to be the thing that is still around?
No, you're just praying to God that you can actually get. Right now, I think you're just freaking out, going like, are we even legally allowed to? Like, can we do? No one will come. We're under a state of emergency if things don't calm down.
I think going the first route, right? Things. Yeah. It's in June. We're in March, so in theory, they have probably a reasonable time to cancel up until a month before. I'd say. And
I know. Another one that I forgot to mention, South by Southwest also was canceled just right before they were supposed to.
I think that starts or is supposed to be like in the next week, right? It would have been. And
I know there's a lot of people that are upset. I mean, every one of these, like the game developer conference is a huge thing for game developers. It gives them the chance to network. It gives them a chance to get their games out there to try and get them sold.
Yeah.
So that not existing hurts people. The South by Southwest thing happened so close to it. Obviously, people were like, my flight's booked, my hotel's, I'm about to leave. Oh, wait, no, this is costing money. This is costing time. I mean, I know some people are like, well, I guess I'll just go there anyway because
right. I guess why not?
Yeah, I've already paid for everything. If E3 doesn't cancel ahead of time, that's a jerk thing to do.
Yeah.
And would probably turn off. Like, honestly, after the shitty things they've done before, that's probably going to be the last straw for some people.
Yeah.
So
I think
they're in basically I think the only thing they can really do is pray that everything turns out okay.
Yeah, I think E3 will happen. I think they need it to happen. Also,
yeah. Yeah, otherwise it's game over for them.
Yeah.
But so the other thing that could be affected by the coronavirus, I mean, literally everything could be affected by the coronavirus, but in terms of big video game things, is the production of the new consoles, because obviously, the China and stuff manufactures a lot of parts. They are kind of the biggest place that this is happening, and a lot of quarantine stuff and everything's being delayed over there. So I think it's going to determine like where in the pipeline are these. I think
right.
I would honestly think that Xbox is probably farther ahead just because they've been more generous about showing stuff.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell, like, because Xbox is like, here are straight up specs, here's the box, here's the stuff, and Sony maybe seems like they are, I don't know, I think, right, the public perception is they're waiting for Xbox to announce their price so that they can undercut.
Yeah,
but
because I have a feeling what Sony is going to do is they're going to put out a video that's like, here's the box, here's the games, here's the price, here's the release date.
Yeah, here's the date.
In one big thing. Whereas as Microsoft has been doing kind of like, here's some specs, here's what the box looks like, here's some more specs, we're still no games, still no price.
Yeah, but I think the Xbox Next announcement is for their lower budget box, right? The Lockhart. Isn't that like the is that the digital only one or something?
I don't think I've heard about that.
Oh, let me do a quick Google while we go. Xbox Lockhart, Xbox Series S. That's what it's called.
So they're continuing. Okay, they're continuing the SX thing, but adding the word series.
Yeah, the series. So
that's basically it's gonna be called the Xbox Series instead of the Xbox One.
And that's supposed to be their cheap one. Okay. Apparently it leaked at $300, but
that is
unclear if that's verifiable.
Yeah, that sounds like a rumor, not really a leak. There's sometimes,
but it is the S model.
But there's so much wrong with the naming of these things.
I don't know. I think it's fine. I'm still on that. Like, I think the Series X makes sense. It's like how you name cars, right?
Sure.
It doesn't really matter. Am I getting the one with all the bells and whistles, or am I getting the super budget one?
Sure, but you're not going. Your grandma's not buying like a 10-year-old Timmy a car. Like literally, there's a guy there who's helping you through the car buying process, saying here's this, here's that.
Yeah.
Whereas a game console is like, I mean, there's a lot of kids that have game consoles that their parents bought them, and the parents don't know what the frick any of this does.
Right.
Like they're all Nintendo Wiis as far as they're concerned.
It's true.
So I very much think like even some gamers, like the people who buy consoles just to play Madden.
Right.
I feel like
it probably doesn't matter which one they get. They could get the Series S and it would be okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, Yeah, but also, like, at some point, the games are only going to be available on the new one. We'll talk about kind of the smart delivery feature later, but, like, at some point, there's going to be Madden 20, and that one's going to only be available on the Series X, and they're going to be confused about why their Xbox One X is not that.
Well, so that's the difference, I think, between what the Series S is the next Xbox is the Xbox Series.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is...
So at some point, it'll probably fall off where the One X and the One and the One S won't be relevant.
Yeah.
But if you get the Series S or the Series X, it won't matter. I think the Series S is part of that program where they want to basically stream games to you eventually. So it doesn't matter how powerful your box is as long as you have the internet connection. Because
But so many people don't, that I think at the end of the day, like, having the powerful box isn't going to be what's going to prevent the all streaming future.
Right.
It's the cord connected, and like, even I've seen people, because a thing that people don't really consider is that, like, the internet company will give you a shit ton of down if you pay for it, but they like to be very stingy about their up.
Yeah.
And if you are streaming, you need both because you're both sending and receiving signals very quickly.
Yeah.
So the internet company is going to decide if streaming is a thing or not, and I have a feeling that they're not, like, that. I don't know. They're going to be greedy about it, and I don't see that working out. But yeah, like, I guess
back on topic, I don't know if coronavirus is going to affect the release window of the new consoles.
I would think it maybe will increase price. I would hope. I think it might push it back. I guess we don't really know enough about the consoles, and nobody said anything about it affecting things.
Yeah.
Because if they're far enough in the pipeline,
right,
which I would hope they are, because holiday season's not that far away. It's so weird how close we are to what the release of these consoles are supposed to be, and we haven't seen games, we haven't seen prices.
I don't know when in that cycle the manufacturing generally starts. Like, typically, I don't know if it's like, hey, we can actually, crank out 20 million of these things within a 2-month span, or how that works. So it's hard to say.
Well, yeah, so that's coronavirus is definitely having worldwide implications. But speaking of the all streaming future, a contender to both Xbox and Stadia has been having some issues with their all streaming future. Matt, do you want to take this one?
When you say a contender to the Xbox and the Stadia, it's slightly different, right? The Nvidia's GeForce Now platform. The basic premise is GeForce Now takes your existing, as of right now, your existing Steam library. So anything you already own.
Yeah.
And allows you to basically log in remotely to their, data center PC and play your games on a super powerful computer. You want to play Cyberpunk, let's say, when that comes out, and you want to play it on a 4K spec or something, but you don't have access to that, you'd be able to use GeForce Now to stream that to yourself on a higher spec PC. So it's interesting because they're not actually selling you games. You are still acquiring the games, and then it's in theory games you own or you have the license to access, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
The issue arises, though, now that the GeForce Now service is out of its free beta period, and they now want to charge you.
Yeah.
So now, all of a sudden, all these game publishers are taking issue with that and saying, you're basically charging people to access our games.
Yeah.
But I think it's just that they want a cut of the money.
Basically the way that I understand, based on this Polygon article, which is going back to when Activision first pulled out, and it says GeForce now lost Activision games over misunderstanding, and basically the way it kind of seems like it was that Nvidia now existed, and everybody was happy of like, hey, we don't know how this is going to work. A lot of people are trying shit. We don't know if yours is going to be successful, but we'll let you try it. And then GeForce was like, hey, we did it. We're going out. And the game companies were like, well, actually, now that you're ready, we want to talk about money. We want to, and they're just like, no, we're just, you're part of it. You already said it. You're ours now. And they're like, no, actually, either we're negotiating this or we're out. And so people have been pulling out because they do want to cut, because obviously Nvidia is getting money for it,
right?
Using their games, so they're providing the service, the streaming capabilities, but they're streaming their games. So
yeah, my personal view, based on everybody that's pulling out, is that they're just looking for how come we don't get to make money off of this service because it's our games that are being played.
Yeah.
But they don't, I mean, it's not like you're getting charged every time you boot a game up through Steam, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you already own the library of games in theory as the end user or as the player. Those are my games. It's like if you went to a PC cafe or something like that and you had to log into your own account to play your own games.
Yeah.
It's like, where does the line get drawn for who owns the game at that point? And like, why I don't understand necessarily why Nvidia can't charge for this service, or like why publishers don't want to play nice.
See, well, here's the thing. Coming from a publisher point of view, from a person who made the game, and actually, I'll go over real quick at the top of this, who all pulled out because of this issue: Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, 2K, and the indie studio Hinterland has pulled out from the Nvidia streaming platform. But let's say Game Corp's got a game on there, and so from my point of view, I've sold my game on Steam. The reason that I could benefit from this service is that I can say this works with Nvidia streaming service. So if you want to use this, then this is a thing I can add to my Steam page to say, oh, you can do this. It's almost like the Steam remote play thing. Like that's a feature that you could support. But also at the end of the day, if they're using this thing or not, I gain nothing. Then most I might sell a few copies because of this, but how likely is that, and is it worth my time? And because you're probably going to get people going like, oh, your game's not working very well on Nvidia GeForce, like, oh, you got to optimize it better. Like they might have to do work because of this.
Okay,
and then is it worth it?
That's a fair point.
So if they're not gaining anything, why should they be part of something? Why are they supporting something someone else is making money off of their work?
Right.
So the only reason I would be part of this is so I can slap on the box that it works with Nvidia GeForce. That's the only thing I would gain from this.
Okay. See, I guess, yeah. I don't know. I feel like as the person that purchased the game, and I guess that's like, where do I stand on end user license agreements? Do I think the company owns the game and I am renting the right to play it, or do I think I bought this thing so it's mine? I don't care what you think, 2K or Activision or whoever. I bought the game, so I should be able to play it if it's accessible on that platform.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are stuff that, like, you can still use Steam Link. You can still...
Right.
Like, NVIDIA actually has a program thing that will allow you to play games that are installed on your PC. So there are, like, streaming options that connect to your personal PC.
Right.
But I can very much see... Because they're basically saying, hey, we're going to install the game that you purchased on our PC and allow you to connect to it there. And it's kind of...
But it's still like, if you went to your friend's house and you logged into your Steam account on their computer and you played, like, that's not an issue, right? And it's basically them saying, hey, we're your friend with a great PC.
Yeah.
So just pay us $10 or whatever. And
I think it's the gray area.
Yeah.
They're existing in a gray area, and so that's why they're kind of going.
We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, actually, why should we support this? But there's somebody who is supporting it.
That's right. Tim Sweeney, founder of Epic Games and CEO, I guess I should also mention that part. He tweeted the other day, Epic is wholeheartedly supporting Nvidia's GeForce Now service with Fortnite and with Epic Games Store titles that choose to participate, including exclusives, and will be improving the integration over time. It's the most developer-friendly and publisher-friendly of the major streaming services, with zero tax on game revenue. Game companies who want to move the game industry towards a healthier state for everyone should be supporting this kind of service. I think he's on board because he literally runs a company that owns a gaming storefront. Yeah. So he's, like you're saying, like, it only benefits them, right?
Yeah.
Because if you buy things through Epic and Epic is available on GeForce Now, then that's good. But also, I generally agree with him that it is the most friendly way to do that.
I think if Nvidia GeForce was just like, if it was a free thing, then I think every game company would be all about it. They can slap that on the box, they get nothing. But if someone else is, if like, let's say somebody was taking Last Geek videos and they made the new YouTube, and freaking YouTube itself is making money off the things that I make, and I'm getting nothing from that. Like, does it really benefit? Why should I allow them to make?
Why should you go to that platform? Why not
allow them to make money when I don't? So, like, sure, they're still selling them stuff, but why should I support somebody who's benefited, like, basically using me? So
it's interesting because then that just means that,
because that Nvidia, I think if Nvidia is taking money or is making money off of this, they can figure out a way to go, okay, we'll give you a cut. We'll give you a little bit. Even if it's not much. I think they just say, hey, by supporting this thing, you get 1% or something, some sort of Netflix. I wonder
how little they could actually do to get those companies on board. Because like in that scenario you just said, like with YouTube, like if Nvidia becomes the de facto stream service, then I mean, then my opinion probably also shifts, right? Once they are like the end all be all of like, okay, you got to be on GeForce Now streaming because that's the best way to make your game accessible. Then I'm probably like, well, that sucks that those people aren't getting paid now.
If they become the Steam.
So, if they become like it flip, then my outlook changes on that.
Right now they're the scrappy Epic Game Store. But if they become the de facto, then it's like, actually maybe we shouldn't support this. And by that point, they've already become a giant that's unstoppable. It's like Epic's doing their thing, but they're being fought back. Like, people are very much, I will never download Epic, because there's so much support for Steam. So
all the other publishers that don't have their own storefront ecosystem are just trying to smother this one. And it's not even a storefront. I don't know. I guess that's what bugs me, is like, you're not purchasing the game again. You're using, I don't know. If Valve wasn't okay with it, they would just say, like, you can't link the Steam account, and then that would kill it, right?
I mean,
so,
it's
I don't know.
I feel like Nvidia just needs to talk to the companies and be a little bit more, generous with the fact that they're making money, and that should maybe be shared. But who's not making much money right now? It's GameStop.
It's GameStop. Yet another hit comes to GameStop, I guess. That's
So Polygon has an article by Colin Campbell saying GameStop lays off longtime district managers. 10 district managers whose jobs to monitor multiple stores and supervise stores have been laid off, thus causing other people to have to carry more of a
I wonder
load.
how many stores that like are under that, or if that, I wonder if that 10 district managers is like, there's 50 in a state, or if it's like, there's 5 in a state, or what is the scale? Because like, is 10 a significant number or not? It's unclear.
It depends on where these are. Like if they're in California, that could be like in a neighborhood,
right?
Yeah. And yeah, if it was in the Midwest, that could be like
maybe you get 3 states per manager.
Yeah. But I think the most interesting fact from this article, because obviously people losing their jobs is kind of standard right now with constant store closings and stuff, is that GameStop, according to this, the GameStop trading price of their stock is at $350, which is down from $11.70 from a year ago. And as recently as 5 years ago, GameStop stock trade at $40 to $50 range.
Wow.
So
they are less than.
Yeah, you could buy a stock of GameStop for about as much as they'll pay you to trade in a brand new video game. Sick burn.
Wow.
But yeah, that is okay. So there is a stock trading app that I recently signed up for because I want to buy stock in the company I work for. And when I signed up, they gave me a free stock, and that stock is worth like $250 right now that I got for free, which is not that far off from what GameStop is trading at. The stock price is not good, and I would not probably recommend buying the stock. Like there's certain points that like my company just took a hit due to the coronavirus. Like the entire stock market's down.
Everything did, right?
Yeah, everything's down. So I'm like, this is a good time to buy because it'll go back up eventually. This is maybe not a good time to buy GameStop because eventually that number can still go down.
Or the best time, I don't know.
Yeah, if you believe that they can come back, then yeah, this is actually a great time. But
I don't know enough about how that stuff works, but I assume if Tencent swings in and is like, "Hey, we're gonna buy GameStop" or something.
Yeah. If there was some big thing coming, but basically, I think. Unless I knew that one of their like experimental stores was being a big hit, I don't see what GameStop could do that would be like, this'll turn it around. So maybe don't pre-order upcoming games at GameStop for a bit.
Jeez. Or do if you want to save them. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
if you want GameStops to still exist, maybe go to GameStop more.
Yeah,
if you don't,
just go buy some shit.
But maybe it's too late. I don't know. Tough to say.
But regardless, there are some games that you might be able to buy somewhere in the future.
League of Legends developer Riot Games has, more recently announced, I think, that it coincided, I think, with their 10-year anniversary or something. But they recently announced they're working on a number of projects that are different games than League of Legends, and we've already seen games like TFT show up, and what's their card game? Is it Runeterra?
Yeah, Legends of Runeterra.
So they have a card game that's Legends of Runeterra, and then they have an auto chess, auto battler style game called Teamfight Tactics. They also announced a tactical shooter called Project A. And in the last week, they officially unveiled it as Valorant, spelled Valor, A-N-T, Valorant. It is a free-to-play, hero-based tactical shooter. So you're going to choose a class or a hero or whatever that you play as for the game round. But other than that, it plays or looks a lot like CSGO. So I think it's got a large round structure, and you're playing to win each round, and then, something like, I think CSGO, you have to win 15 rounds. I think it's something along those same lines. And it's coming out this summer. So that's a big deal for Riot, because I think, first of all, a free-to-play CS:GO style game, I think, is going to be a very popular game on streaming platforms, much like, other Riot games are. I think TFT is pretty big. I think League of Legends is traditionally, other than Fortnite, the biggest thing going on any given, Twitch or Mixer or whatever. And this is actually the first game that Riot is making that isn't in the League of Legends universe. So none of the heroes from League of Legends are actually in this game, which is kind of neat because they're expanding, beyond their familiar territory.
Sure, but also it's like CS:GO, which like the people are probably already just going to play CS:GO, like they're already entrenched in that, and like there's a lot of competition in the shooter space,
right?
And they're not leveraging their current IP to kind of be like, hey, you should play this. Jinx will be in it,
right?
So I'll be curious to see what reason they'll give people to try it, because it would have to play really good. And
I think, so I think what they're doing is appealing to already shooter fans, like people that already like CS:GO, or people that like Rainbow Six Siege, or people that like Call of Duty or something like that. I think of like big streamer partners, like on Twitch. I think of like big names on Twitch, and I've seen them talking about Project A and wanting to play Project A because they all at some point in their gaming careers played a lot of CS:GO.
Yeah.
And I think CS:GO has proven that it can stay perennial. It's always around. It's always doing relatively well. So I think Riot's just trying to get into that same exact space as CS:GO.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is that like CS:GO is successful because it's the building on the hype of Counter-Strike itself. It's literally got decades of success, and so trying to show up when be a new dog fighting the freaking heavyweight and be like, I'm just as good as them, you should hang out with me, like you might get people to check it out because it's the new thing.
Yeah, so I think that launch week it'll probably do some crazy numbers on a platform like Twitch. I think it'll probably be
But you'd have to do something really special to keep people there, and like CS:GO, I kind of see as like the vanilla shooter. It kind of does what it does. There's nothing really special about it, and that's why people like it. But also, CS:GO is that you don't need fancy vanilla ice cream. It's vanilla. Like,
that's fair.
You don't. What? Oh, I'm gonna try the new vanilla. It tastes like vanilla. I'm just gonna eat my vanilla. I already have vanilla. We got vanilla at home, kids.
I think there's a room.
We'll
especially
see.
I don't know how. Ultimately, we don't know how it plays yet.
Yeah.
There's a beta, I think, coming. But we'll see. I think a lot of it is set up like CS:GO, but who knows? Like if they can basically pull off an Overwatch where you have suddenly either characters you like or class-based abilities and things that are, that take it to a slightly better level. Like Rainbow Six Siege is probably a great example of a game that's found a market, and it plays somewhere in between CS:GO and Overwatch in that sense.
Well, it does sound like this does have character-based stuff, because this article does say that players will choose one of the several different characters called agents to play at the beginning of each match. Each agent will have unique abilities that can help give them a tactical advantage as two teams compete in one another. So it kind of sounds like look at the graphics, that it kind of looks, and the description, I'm like, this sounds like they mixed CS:GO with Overwatch with Siege.
Yeah.
And we'll see if that's a good mix, or if they just, or like when I was like, you know what I love? I love tacos and I love bacon. And I tried putting bacon in the tacos, and that did not taste good.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds like it would be all right.
It was just taco meat and bacon, and maybe if there was other shit in there, that would be good. But it was not, and cheese, and it was.
What if you had a tortilla wrapped in bacon, or
maybe if
lined
it's like
in bacon?
Maybe if it's just like the little bacon chips or something, not actual like straight up cooked bacon. Because it was like too greasy. There was too much like. So maybe you can combine these things, but you have to do it just right, and we'll see if Riot can pull it off.
I mean, they have the budget.
Sure, but they also have a lot of projects on their plate.
They do. They're making a lot of games.
Hopefully they're not just like, we'll just throw shit at the wall and see what happens.
What other games are out there or coming?
Yeah, we've got a leak, which due to some data mining of the PlayStation Network, which that is how we learned that Palapon 2 is coming, and also this Final Fantasy demo. We don't know what the dates are or anything with that. Basically, a listing just pops up. You get a name and maybe a picture, and that's what we got with this. A game called Star Wars Maverick. People were able to data mine from the store, and all we basically know it's a Star Wars game called Project Maverick. And in the picture, we see a Star Destroyer and 3 X-Wings heading towards that Star Destroyer, and it looks like they are over the planet of Mustafar, which we see in Revenge of the Sith, just based on this images. Beyond that, we don't really know anything. And based on the fact that it had a store listing without ever being properly announced, you almost wonder if it's going to be like an Apex Legends type thing, with like a stealth drop.
EA was probably like, hey, that worked so well last time.
Yeah, so that is something that could be coming. And just based on this and the fact that we're just seeing X-Wings, maybe it's a Starfighter type situation, like an X-Wing game.
Yeah.
That is a thing that people have been asking for quite some time. There were some very good ones back in the day, and that might be what we get. So
that would be neat. I'd like that.
Yeah. So keep your eyes out for that. Matt, there's another CS:GO, but in that line, it's a Valve game. It's a Valve inspired. I don't know what I was going for. Matt, tell me about it.
I see what you were trying to say. I get it. There was so this isn't something we'd normally cover, but this game, Black Mesa, launched this week on Steam, and it's notable because it's a fan-made, not Valve-made remake of Half-Life, the first game. It was originally kicked off as a mod project back when Half-Life 2 dropped and Half-Life Source dropped, which I think was 2005. They started, I guess, working on it and originally targeted a release of 2009. But it was intended to be a full remake of the original Half-Life in the Source engine, because they weren't happy with the improvements of Half-Life Source to the original Half-Life. The team that worked on it ended up releasing it in early access or beta or something in 2015. And they managed to get Valve's blessing, I guess would be the way, or Valve basically said, hey, you can release this commercially.
Yeah.
And so this past week, they finally launched it on Steam and are selling it. And so you can go buy this fan-made remake of the original Half-Life, it's pretty neat. And probably if I were to go, like, if I was like, let me go play Half-Life, that would probably be my preferred way to go play it, would be with, the latest release.
Yeah.
So I would probably pick that over trying to play the original at this point.
Yeah. And
so I might check it out. I don't know.
It's very cool. Like, I would say if anyone was willing to give them okay, the Valve would be the one, especially because they're not really a game developing company so much anymore. So
I mean, they what are they? They've released some stuff.
I mean, they're doing the VR.
They have a new Half-Life game coming out in 2 weeks or so?
Yeah, so I mean, getting people excited about the Half-Life franchise benefits them.
Yeah, that probably helped out.
But yeah, so they're not like EA or anybody who's like, no, you can't use our property, because yeah, they're kind of more about selling, and obviously they're making money off of you selling on the Steam store.
Right. Like, yeah, I'm sure they're fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
fine with it to that extent.
They did none of the work and made money off of it.
Except all the original work.
Oh yeah, sure, but they didn't do any additional work.
Yeah.
So that's a cool thing. I've got no cool transition other than, hey, we got some more Xbox Series X stuff to talk about.
Oh.
The Microsoft revealed some more details. I'm going over this Polygon article. The Xbox Series X has a next-gen custom processor, which will employ AMD Zen 2 and RDN 2 architecture. Don't know what that means. It will provide 12 teraflops, which is twice what Microsoft promised with the Xbox One X.
I still don't know what a teraflop is, so
Yeah, it's something to do with the graphics. They're gonna be real good.
It's bigger than a gigaflop. Bigger than a mega flop.
Spencer outlined the Series X's veritable rate shading, saying rather than spending GPU cycles uniformly to every single pixel on the screen, they can prioritize individual effects on specific game characters or important elemental objects. This technique results in more stable frame rates and higher resolution with no impact on the final image quality. That kind of sounds like a thing that they'll do with like YouTube videos, where to save on data, they'll only change the thing on screen that changes. So the quality of video will drop if there's a lot of things changing.
Right.
But if there's not, then they can focus on those small things and save data.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good. Okay, that makes sense when I think about watching like streams of games, and if it's an action-packed game or there's a lot of like really vibrant colors or something, the game might not look great on stream because it gets, it's...
Yeah, there's a lot of things changing, and thus they have to send more data to kind of keep up with that. Yeah. They also promised hardware accelerated DirectX ray tracing with true-to-life lighting, accurate reflections, and acoustics in real time.
Ray tracing's here in a real-time environment, so that's cool.
It's the hot thing. I will say that I played Control with ray tracing, and it like the game did their fake ray tracing so well that it's almost like, is it there? Like it looks the same. It says it's happening, but their like fake ray tracing was so good that it's like, okay. But there's definitely games that don't have anything that you can like I've seen a Minecraft mod that put in ray tracing. It's like, oh, actually that's very cool, especially where you can do things like place colored blocks and see the light bounce off them onto a wall and see like, oh, the light on the wall is changing colors. Yeah, there's a few things like they're partnering with the HDMI forum to provide auto low latency mode and variable refresh rate, which is a thing. Basically, your console's gonna be talking to your TV to make sure everything's
right. So it'll perform
properly.
Like a monitor, instead of a TV, like a gaming monitor.
Yeah, like there are video cards that will have syncing capabilities that if they work. If your monitor supports it and your graphic card supports it, they can talk to each other and basically make sure everything lines up perfectly. There's a lot going on. I'm sure like we'll see more about it, but honestly, it's one of those things of like, tell us the price, tell us the games.
All the information that's come out about either of the consoles is like still the in the deep end kind of technical spec stuff.
Yeah.
We just show me a fancy looking Forza or whatever.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, if it's a Sony thing, and
Yeah, show me something that makes it matter to me instead of just it could do this, it could do all this stuff. But one thing that we're getting out of the Xbox X that relates to the games is they're smart delivery service that they're doing, which basically is kind of backwards compatible going forward, where games that you buy on Xbox One, you'll have available to you on the Series X. Microsoft has said it will work with their first-party titles, and they're opening it up to third-party titles. And Cyberpunk 2077 said they'd be part of it. And the way this is basically going to work, so you can buy the Xbox One version of Cyberpunk 2077, which obviously will be optimized for the Xbox One. But then the Xbox Series X comes out, but you only bought the Xbox One. They will give you the Xbox Series X copy. So it will have all the bells and whistles of the higher console features. So you will get the new version because you bought the old version.
Individual crossplay.
Yeah. That is very cool. It definitely gives you reason of like not to wait. I don't need to wait for the new console to come out to buy this game, because I can buy it now and then I will have the better features on the new one. The only thing I'm curious about is, does that go both ways? So if I bought it on the Series X, do you then give me an Xbox One copy?
I would guess no, I think.
So I would think, based on this quote, I'm going to say the answer is yes, because it says, this technology empowers you to buy a game once and know that whether you're playing it on an Xbox One or Xbox Series X, you are getting the right version of that game on whatever Xbox you're playing on.
Okay. So, yeah.
That sounds like it will, but it's almost one of those things of like, until I know, it could go either way.
I think in Microsoft's ecosystem, yes.
Yeah.
Right, that makes sense. You're buying a game either through, your Microsoft Xbox storefront. So you bought Halo. Now you have Halo no matter what platform you're trying to play it on. Who knows? Maybe that's like on tablet in the not so distant future. Yeah. Right?
I think this definitely gives people with Xboxes reason not to jump ship. Even if the PlayStation 5 does some crazy cool shit, comes out cheaper, does some stuff, like, that the games you've bought will be better on the new one. And I think the same is technically, they kind of suggested a similar thing for PlayStation, that like it would play the old games, but we know it's so nebulous about what anything is happening with the PlayStation 5. We haven't heard shit from them in so long that I think,
it basically is backwards compatibility to some degree.
Yeah, it's backwards compatible. Yeah, it's Series X backwards compatibility, but it's also like forwards compatibility, because like if I stick in a Banjo-Kazooie game into an Xbox One, it's going to play exactly as it had on an OG Xbox. Nothing improves. But this one, I will get the improved version. They're going to have...
say they released Banjo 4K or something. Yeah, you would then get that.
Yes, because that is the version for the new console. So it's kind of backwards compatibility forward, which is definitely a cool feature and could definitely give reason to stick with that console. I don't think it's reason to jump ship, because obviously this only benefits people who are already on that console, but...
I think a lot of these news stories this week kind of hit on the general direction of the next, the next block of what's coming in gaming.
Yeah,
we're like kind of the GeForce Now with like, okay, this is your library, this is what you own. Microsoft now saying with the smart delivery, okay, you buy it once and you own the future versions that can be out of the same game. So we're getting to that like universal game library area of like, what games do you own? And
well, I think the reason they can do this is because you don't really own any of them,
right?
Like you're getting a license, and they're just kind of saying, yes, that license transfers to the new game, but also at any time we can take it all away. It doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, I think it's a lot harder to take it away though. After you've given it.
Yeah, I guess the disc maybe doesn't work, but also, I mean, really, they could update your Xbox and say that disc doesn't work.
Right.
Like, it's a thing of like PT. Like, technically, I have PT on my PS4. They can't take that away from me. But also, if I'm not getting that on PlayStation 5, that's like, there are ways that they can make it so a game doesn't, like, we see that happen on Steam, where like the games you can still play them for the most part. I don't think there's a time where you can't play a game, but there's definitely times where you can't buy it anymore. Mm-hmm. So there's weird situations, but yeah, it's all kind of just licenses and how far are they going to allow you to extend that.
Yeah. I think, Microsoft again, just on the consumer friendly.
Well, yeah,
they're just pushing forward with that method.
Yeah, when you're behind, you've got to find something to kind of bring people in, and we'll see how PlayStation responds to this, because like, sure, they're ahead, but if they don't like keep up the pace, like actually pick up the pace, because obviously Xbox is gaining speed. They're in terms of things they're trying. They definitely have eyes on them of like, oh, Game Pass is really cool. This is really cool. They're doing some great moves. If PlayStation doesn't do things to lockstep with them to try and keep the features either on par or ahead, people might go to Xbox.
Yeah.
But one thing PlayStation does have that Xbox not as much, they have the series. They have the characters that people love. They got the God of Wars, they got the Ratchet and Clanks, and they got the Last of Us. And maybe something will be bringing some more people into the PlayStation ecosystem because of a tangential thing, kind of like we saw with The Witcher. The Last of Us series in the works at HBO from Chernobyl creator Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann, which the Neil Druckmann part I'm very excited about, because there's so many issues with the Uncharted movie, and I think that's because they don't have the people who made Uncharted have a hand on the wheel.
Is this series actually going to come out? And is it going to come out before the Uncharted movie?
I think I 100% think this series is kind of going to come out. A, HBO, B, Neil Druckmann. Like, I think they've got the people behind it. They've got a pedigree of people who I think can handle the project. And I think there's kind of a clear vision. We also don't actually, it says that it's going to be based on The Last of Us. Does that mean this is an adaptation of the game? Or is this a series that takes place in the world?
Based on's real loose. That's like, that's just, we went with the licensing and name of this property because it has a built-in fan base.
Yeah, it could literally be like, hey, here's some characters that are in a world where the zombies are plant-based.
Yeah.
With Neil Druckmann at the helm, I don't think that's gonna be the case. I think I would prefer that it's not a straight adaptation. Like, I don't want to see Ellie or Joel. I want it to be in the world. And I think how
yeah.
I think definitely a straight adaptation would maybe do better, but I think it's gonna, like, I think we'll have a better idea of what they plan to do after The Last of Us 2 comes out.
I bet HBO looks at this in the same lens that they look at, like, all right, we managed to take Game of Thrones and have a huge hit on our hands. Look at The Walking Dead. It's been running for 10 years, and it's literally the number one drama on TV continuously. Let's take, basically The Walking Dead or a zombie theme and try and run with that as long as we can.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, I think this is The Witcher, while technically an adaptation of the books and not the games, so many people are playing the games and so many gamers are watching that I feel like we'll see something like that with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the same time, I kind of hope it's just tangentially related. I would like it to be like maybe focused on the Fireflies, like not like we maybe see the effects of the game, like something if it took place after the events of 1, and so we are like, oh, this is that because of the things that we did in the game. So we have a context as people play the game, but also we're not. It's not going, hey, this is a story told again, because like that. I think by playing games, you have a more personal story that like this is the things I did. This is how things went for me, and having them go, actually, no, that's not what happened. That this is the true telling isn't a great way to do it.
I'm somewhat interested in this. I don't know. I never finished The Last of Us.
What?
I don't know. I haven't finished it. I started it. I played, I don't know. I want to say halfway through, but I don't really know. But yeah.
So if anybody wants to be a host of Ready Set Gamecast, no.
I never finished watching the first movie, right? Is that the way I should frame it? Because, Sony games are just movies, or Naughty Dog games are just movies.
No. But this brings us to the part where we thank the patrons for helping make this show. If you're still here, if it's because it's been a while, I feel like Matt says the episode should be longer or shorter.
I do think they should be shorter.
But also, I feel like they've been the longest since you've been on them.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many news stories.
But this brings us to the part of the podcast where we say thank you to Aaron Z and Dragons Lucas for helping support the show. With your monetary compensation, we pay for things like the video chat service, the hosting of the website and the episodes that allows us to put it out, and party balloons for when we reach episode 100. They'll drop on everybody's head from everywhere. So it's a lot. It costs a lot. That's a lot of balloons. You remember how everybody's like,
Big
we're
promise.
running out of helium. That's us. We're doing that. So thank you, Aaron C and Dragons Lucas, for supporting the show. And if you want to be a supporter and help get balloons to all the people, you can go to patreon.com/thelastgeek. And for $5 a month, you can get a shout out in each and every episode of Race at Gamecast. Teddy's Conversation Corner, where you can submit a question, comment, or concern. I'm wrapping them they're together. They're one thing now. We can submit a question or comment by going to readysetgamecast.com/submit for us to read on the show. We have actually, I'm going to let Matt take this while I double check that there's no new questions.
All right. This first one is a statement, not a question, from Chase. It says, famous Dave's pickles are the best. They're spicy and sweet. I don't know if those are carried near me, but I'll have to look for them.
Yep. What is your favorite pickles brand? You seem you're a pickle connoisseur. What's the best one?
Brand?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're called Clausen.
Oh yeah, I think that's the standard.
I regularly get those ones.
Spears.
What's the one with the bird? Yeah.
Isn't that Clausen?
Oh, is that Clausen? Maybe that's not the one I get.
What do you think will happen if I search bird pickles in Google?
It might come up. What's another one? Mount Olive. I don't know. Those are all the ones that I generally like. Any of the ones you can get at the store, like in a jar. Probably not going to be as good as ones you can get other places.
No, the Vlasic
Yep.
Mascot is a stork.
Yep. Okay, that's one. I don't get that. I get Clausen generally.
And
I think
there's kosher, I guess. There's
kosher dill.
Yeah. Okay. That's Matt's not picky about his brands. If they're
No, I like a deli pickle. I think I said that last time. Just like a fresh deli pickle.
Hey. What's next on the
next question comes from Aaron C. If you could have any dog, what breed would it be and what would you name it?
I know I'd name it Rascal. I know that much.
Okay.
As for breed, I mean, cockapoo is what I had when I was younger. They're pretty cool. I don't know, like a big
said poo.
Yep. A bigger dog would be cool, but honestly, I don't know shit about dogs. Like there was a point where I was like, oh man, there was a scary dog. It was brown. It was a brown dog, and it was the dog height. You know, that kind of dog. And
I don't know if it's like, I don't know what the ethics are on crossbreeds, you know, because I feel like there's something out there, there's some rules, but I think like a Shiba crossed with a Husky would be nice.
Dogs do what dogs want to do.
Yeah, but if you, I think it's more like the forcing them to do what
I feel like it's more,
and there's like unhealthy breeds and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like it's more like breeders want to keep their dogs pure than they do want to mix them. I know zero about dog breeding.
But I guess a Husky Shiba and name it Ferguson.
Okay.
Yeah. And the last question comes from Billy, not a goat, instead of Billy the goat, I suppose. If you had to fart in a jar, what would you do with the jar afterwards? What are your thoughts, Bryce?
I think I would like put it in my closet and open it in a year and see if it still smelled like fart.
Then you'd know if you had a good jar or not, I guess.
Do you think like can a fart get out of just like the glass? Like is it like a condensation type thing?
Huh. I guess it depends how warm it was and how cool of an environment you're storing it in.
What would you do with your fart jar?
I think I would put it on eBay and call it Gamer Boy Fart Jar Air and see how
Gamer
that did.
Air. Okay, that is our Teddy's Conversation Corner.
Wonderful.
If you have a conversation you would like us to corner, go to race@gamecast.com/submit.
That was good. I like that.
This brings us to housekeeping. We sweep up all the remainder of the podcast and we say, go to lastgeek.com for links to the podcast on all your favorite podcast services, including iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher, as well as the video version on youtube.com/lastgeek. You should hit the subscribe button because every time that number goes up, it makes me happy. And every time it goes down, I die. I perish from this land every time I lose a subscriber. So actually, if you've already
then he has to be reborn.
If you've already hit the subscriber button, don't hit it again, because that I die. If you like the show, please subscribe, rate, and review it on iTunes and Stitcher. It helps us grow and become more powerful. Yep, iTunes.
That was
reviews.
me flexing. That was the noise. Sorry.
Also, if you know anyone who likes video games or video game news or doesn't know about pickles, tell them to listen to this podcast because word of mouth is the greatest form of learning about pickles. Other Last Geek stuff you should check out. Go to lastgeek.com/store to get awesome merch. Check out the newest episode of Game Corp, where
what kind of game did you make?
I'm going to youtube.com/lastgeek.
You don't know what kind of game you made?
It was Who's Your Baby? A game where it's like Who's Your Daddy, but you have to figure out who your baby is.
Is this a sequel or a prequel to another Game Corp hit?
I mean, maybe eventually.
Oh.
I mean, we played the game Who's Your Daddy?
Oh, that is a game.
Yeah, it exists.
That makes sense.
The most recent Let's Play was Who's Your Daddy? We've got 2 Let's Plays recorded. Hopefully, those will be. I'm hoping. What can happen is that the Patreon one for Nidhogg will be up in. No, actually, what will probably be is the Patreon will be Tricky Towers, and then publicly it'll be Nidhogg 2 on April 1st. Is what I'm hoping happens, but that'll come down to the editing. But this brings us to the end of the show, in which Matt tells us where people can find him.
You can find me at Dilbert Pickled, all one word, on various platforms. Twitter, Twitch, that's most of them. But I'm around. Dilbert Pickled. You can find me.
Nice. You can follow me on Twitter at LastGeek. You can follow me on Instagram at LastGeekPlays. You can follow me at twitch.tv/LastGeekPlays. I'm going to try and stream occasionally, and also the podcast will be streamed there on Sundays. We'll figure out time at a later time when we figure out times.
Beautiful.
And then youtube.com/LastGeek, facebook.com/LastGeek.
LastGeek.
LastGeek.com. That's it. Thank you for listening, and we will see you again in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
Bye.